Hello guys, RCSchim on the roof. I think by the sound you have recognized the thing and also by the title maybe. Today my experience and opinion to the DJI FPV copter. And once again I had to fly a short round with this to remind myself of how much I like flying with it. So yeah, it's all about the flying. The best thing about this copter is the video transmission, Occusync3 3.0. I bet this is so confusing. You have DJI FPV, which really meant DJI HDL, which is the DIY version which can be viewed with these goggles. And often it's referred to as DJI V1, version 1. And version 2 is only this copter at the moment. And this is Occusync3 3.0. Now yesterday they already announced or showed the DJI Air 2S, which also uses Occusync 3, but I'm not sure if it will be compatible to these goggles. So DJI has a plethora of different systems. It's weird. At the moment we are either in DJI version 1 for the DIY market and this version 2 for the drone. The difference is with this, even if it's not, it feels like it's 1080p, so full HD here and only like HD ready on the version 1 video transmission. Range should be about the same, although version 2 Occusync 3.0 gives you really good range with the stock antennas already. Quick side note to these antennas, I marked them green because they are different than version 1. They are dual band, 2.4 and 5.8 GHz. And you should not use this in version 1 mode, because version 1 is only 5.8 GHz. So you see, it's really confusing, and that's why you're here. If you found my channel with this review, please consider subscribing. I help you through all this stuff. I already told you I love the video system here. It's amazing. Latency is also good. Range is amazing. In FCC mode, not in CE mode. In CE mode, expect around 1.5 kilometers, but not too much. Yeah. Then there is this 500 meter altitude limit. Be aware, this drone, from the takeoff height, it can only climb 500 meters, which sounds like a lot, but it's not if you want to do mountain dives, which would be my application. 500 meter is nothing if you're flying next to a 1000 meter wall up. And think you make it over the top and then the top is just 510 meters, you're spoiled. What happens if you bounce against a geofencing wall or the 500 meter limit? I heard it just drops out from the manual mode to the stabilized mode, and then you have to like descend or go away from this no-flight zone. And no-flight zones, I even catched one over a deserted old power plant, which is still in the maps.
And this is especially shitty if you have high winds like I had on this day. You see, in the normal mode, it leans so much against the wind. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't move. And then I switched to sport mode. And you see, now I can go back home. I was totally freaking out, to be honest.
A lot of guys complain about low battery life. The expectations from DJI were set quite high with 20 minutes, which is unrealistic. Only under the best conditions, maybe. But in my tests, I fly this mostly around 9 to 13 minutes. You can fly this longer if you fly cruisy, like 40 or 50 kph, not cover a lot of altitude changes, and of course not freestyle. If you freestyle this, it's empty in 6 minutes. If you, and I did this, if you chase other planes on the RC field, planes go faster, then it's also like 6 to 8 minutes. So just be aware of this. If you really push the limits, you can maybe go 15 minutes, but yeah. You shouldn't land with too low of a battery, and it will prevent you. This thing for you, like a Mavic, calculates, I'm out 3 miles, will I even make it back? And tell you right in time. I don't know yet, maybe you know, you can comment me. If I go out far with tailwind and then have to turn around against the wind, will it consider the wind? I don't think so. So be aware when you fly. You can see the wind good if you slowly hover and turn around and see in which direction the copter leans by itself, because it fights the wind. So battery life, I don't think it's bad. I'm really happy with 10 to 12 minutes. It's okay and it's long enough. It gives me the freedom to go quite far all around. And forced landings, yeah, if you're really far out, it goes to the return to home, which cannot be, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but that's the safety features for the newbies. For the newbies, this drone is often referred to as the perfect beginner drone, and it's not, because a beginner can crash this so easy. They swap to manual mode and think they can fly like steel and they just crash. And durability, it's not durable. If you crash it, it will be broken and it's expensive to repair. So there are a lot of downsides. But for someone like me, who's in the hobby for long and who can appreciate a perfectly good video transmission and a quite decent onboard cam, and no, it doesn't compete with the GoPro 9, but maybe with the GoPro 7, it has good stabilization. The Rocksteady software stabilization is good. The gimbal is only up and down, and it's not even stabilized at all if you fly in manual mode, because in manual mode you set the gimbal tilt and nothing else. In stabilized mode it will look up and down and stabilize you on one axis. So no, it's not for the beginners. Beginners, please spend a lot of time on your simulator before you fly with this, or go the cheaper route and buy a DIY drone and learn how to fly properly. But if you're more experienced, you can have a lot of fun with this, fly far and have a lot of confidence, because their return to home and GPS and stabilization, it works so damn good. So mind you, it gives you confidence, but don't overstress it, or else you will crash. Tipped over twice on landings and destroyed some props, but nothing else. The V2 goggles will also work with the DIY version, but if you switch between DIY version 1 and version 2, you always have to rebind either this drone or the DIY drones you have with Cadix Vista or the version 1 air unit. That's a bit of a shame. That keeps me from using this from version 1. So I kept my old version 1 goggles as well and used this for the DIY drones. This is still the original foam, which is not a good fit for most of us. This is the updated foam that DJI sells themselves. A bit more comfortable, but it's also like soft material, and this is leathery, so this will be dirtier soon. The remote, I really like it. It reminds me on the Tango 2 that I love. The form factor is great, buttons are nice, quality, everything fine. I didn't have to charge the battery too often, so battery life is good on them. Very nice, very convenient. The little goggles battery, it's not super. It maybe gives you juice for like 6 or 7 flights, so I always charge it when I go flying. I have 3 batteries. This has to be the first step before you can fly. You use this charger, which has 2 USB ports to simultaneously charge the battery pack for the goggles, the remote, and this is part of the Fly More package, is this extension hub here, and the little electronic device there decides which battery has the highest voltage, and this one gets the first charge. But they are too expensive, they're $150 for the batteries. Those are smart batteries, they discharge themselves if you keep them on 100% for too long, like 10 days or something like this. So yeah, it's a lot like the Mavics. You don't have to take care of anything, it does all this for you. And that's the main selling point of this thing. If you're lazy, if you just want to fly FPV, this thing does almost all for you. Propwash. One of the biggest downsides maybe is the propwash. Propwash means if you fly in a low throttle situation, because you descend, you can come in your own turbulences and this, thank you train, and this makes the copter wobble. It even, if I fly down a hill and want to use little throttle because I can basically fall down, this lower throttle reduces the authority the drone really has, and then it also shakes, and it's just bad tuning. And if it shakes, your camera will have this shakiness as well, even though it's rubber dampened and so forth. It maybe is better with the ND filters that are available as accessory. If you want to have a good shot, good quality, fly quite fast down and it's better there. The cool thing about the gimbal is that you can reset the tilt angle while you fly, and this is new to me because on the DIY drones you have the GoPro like in a fixed angle, and this defines your flying speed and what you can do in the air. And with this thing you can do both. You can chase a fast car by having a lot of up angle and fly fast forward. Or if you fly fast and then see something really cool and want to hover and still film it, you can move the gimbal down, hover, and have everything in shot. So this being able to move the gimbal to what you need to do with the drone in the air is very, very convenient. Now that's one of the coolest things about this 4K drone. 4K 60p, I don't have any complaints about the quality. Sure, it could be better. It doesn't fly too great. For example, if you fly in the stabilized mode and let go the sticks, it does these weird jumpy movements, and each time I think it crashes. And also if you fly in manual mode where you have no stabilization and then switch into the stabilized mode, it brakes like hell. Braking That's one of the really cool features, the pause button. No matter how you fly, how oriented you fly, it's said to even work in inverted mode, but I didn't try it. No matter how you fly, in manual mode, fast, slow, low, high, if you hit the pause button, it will come to a halt and hover there for you. And gives you a minute to breathe, to reconsider yourself and your flying capabilities and calm down. And that's really, really reassuring. If you still freak out, you can like hold this pause button and it will make a return home. So this pause button, having it always available for your index finger is really reassuring. I like it a lot. Looks some flying alien technology to me. And this is the really the cheapest option, the $30 or $35 iFlight backpack. And looks like it suits the controller, 3 batteries and the goggles battery, the copter kind of standing while updating. And I'm done with this soon. So I'll give you the most important tips. Use the shorty cable here on the side of the goggles, not on the phone, or else it will not connect. You also need to turn on the drone and the remote. Only then it will connect to the DJI Flyer. It took me a few minutes to check this out. Okay, it's really getting dark and cold, so let's wrap this up. Let me know in the comments what are your experience with the DJI FPV drone, if you have it already. If you didn't buy it yet, do you plan to get it? Is it still a thing, or do you already search the internets for the DJI Air 2, which now is not named Mavic anymore, which is surprising, but okay. Please show some appreciation with a thumbs up, with a subscription if you're not already subscribed. Maybe even consider Patreon. My Patreon page is lonely, please. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.